My name is Philmor. I'm a police officer with the City of Sacramento Police Department, and this is my journey to the badge.
Look at me. That's Sacramento Police Officer Philmor.
That's Officer Philmor. He's a Grammy-nominated musician. He's also an 18-year veteran of the
Graham is hoping to inspire people to become officers and be the difference.
Today, you are going to hear my story of my journey to wearing this badge. I am currently assigned to the recruiting unit with the City of Sacramento, which means I'm tasked with finding the most amazing applicants to do one of the most amazing and rewarding jobs that there is today, believe it or not. I was born and raised in New York City. I am the son of Jamaican immigrants, and I am exactly 1 year older than hip hop itself. Why did I mention that? Because hip hop culture and the tenets of hip hop have really molded who I am, how I see the world, how I respond to the world, and I'm glad to say that I've been able to bring that into my job, how I see the world, how I affect the world, and how I deal with people. Back in 2002, I ran into a young lady by the name of Jenny Wirtz, but actually, she ran into me.
Hi, my name is Jenny Wirtz, and I have been with the City of Sacramento Police Department since 1997. My current position is a detective in our family abuse unit, and I handle domestic violence and elder abuse cases. Back in 2002, I had the amazing experience to be a full-time recruiter with the City of Sacramento, and that's when I ran into Philmor Graham.
All right, so back in 2002, you met a young man named Philmor Graham, is that right?
Yes, I did.
So I know that was a pivotal moment for you, and it's probably etched in your brain. Tell us a little bit about that contact.
Well, in 2002, I was a full-time recruiter for the department. It was a job that I absolutely loved. I left patrol to come and be a full-time recruiter. I was passionate about this department, passionate about this job, and given the opportunity to go out and do full-time recruiting and get other people passionate just seemed super exciting to me. So back in 2002, I did it for a couple years, but back in 2002, I was at an event, and there was an individual that was walking down the aisles of the recruiting event, and recruiting events can be sometimes boring, sometimes busy. They could range on who's there, the quality of candidates that are there, the amount of candidates that are there. On this particular day, there was a candidate or a person I should say, that was walking down the aisle, making not a lot of eye contact with me and not really making any effort to come over and talk to me about law enforcement or about the police department. And as a recruiter and as someone that was excited about the department, that bothered me. I was like, hey, why does this guy not come over to talk to us? Like, he should come over and find out what's available at the police department, what kind of, exciting things that are going on over here. And he wasn't. So instead of sitting back and just letting him walk on by, I decided to leave, my position from behind the table where I was ready to talk to people and approach him in the aisle and kind of stop him and say like, hey, so have you ever considered a position in law enforcement?
Throughout my career, I've done different things, and even long before I was ever in recruiting, I was what you would call an auxiliary recruiter. So because there were so many events, every once in a while they would just take an officer and have them do recruiting. So I used to do it all the time, right? And I'm gonna tell you why our encounter stands out so much to me is because I have been at the recruiting table. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I cannot remember ever walking around the table to go meet someone. I usually would stand there at the recruiting booth. I may engage somebody verbally and ask them to come over, or if they come over, I'm super happy to speak with them, but I don't think that I have ever gone from around the table to go contact somebody. So for me, it stands out to me, and I wanted to let you know that because I think about you every time I'm at a recruiting event. Every time I'm speaking to somebody, I'm thinking about not just about them getting a job, but I'm thinking about how much of an impact that this job can have on their life and how much of an impact that person can possibly have on the community. And I have you to thank for that. I want to ask you, do you ever think about the impact that you've had on people's lives?
When you bring it to my attention, it certainly, makes me feel proud that, there's so many people that maybe I did help convince or get excited about this job and make them want to make a difference and be part of law enforcement. But it makes me proud to know that, there's a lot of people that I've impacted.
Well, I'm going to tell you about me, if you don't mind. I have always wanted to be an electronics technician or an electrical engineer. I went into the military to do electronics. I got out and I went to school. I did electronics I got an electronics degree at American River College, and then I was pursuing my electrical engineering degree at Sac State. And I started working in that field, and at some point in my life, I started getting the itch to do something else. And I'll bring it even back to music. So I was doing music at the time, and I was contacting a lot of young people, and I was contacting just a lot of people in general, and it kind of just gave me a different heart for people. And I was like, man, I'm impacting people with my music, but I want to impact them on a different level, like every day at work. And that's one of the reasons why I was even at that job fair. That passion that you talked about, like, I just want to tell you that the way you approached me and the sincerity with which you approached me almost immediately broke down a lot of walls for me.
And that's awesome to hear, because I wasn't coming out to you because you were an African American male. I was coming out because I could tell that you weren't acknowledging us.
I definitely was not.
You were not acknowledging us, and so I'm going to come out and I'm going to show you the excitement I have for this job, and hopefully answer any questions or break down any, walls or barriers that there is between you in the African American community or being raised as an African American male. Break down any barriers and answer any questions and let you know, like, hey, this is an exciting job and you could do this and you could make a difference.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you about making a difference. I grew up in a home where there was domestic violence present. And so from the time that we spoke, all through the hiring process, all through the 7 months of the academy, I still wasn't sure. And I'll tell you about an experience that I had my very first week on the job. I responded to a domestic violence call, and I remember helping that family, and I also remember my feelings as a young man being in the home and always wondering, why isn't anyone coming to help me? Right. And after we left that call that night at work, that was the very first night, and that was in my first week on the job. That was the first time that I knew for a fact that this is exactly where I wanted to be. I worked patrol. I had the opportunity to work in the high schools with a youth program at 3 different high schools, Sac High, Grant High School, and McClatchy. I will tell you right now that I have been in contact with kids that are suicidal, that were suicidal, that are thriving adults right now. I have been able to help and counsel families that were falling apart, that are together right now. I have helped literally hundreds of students see their dream going from foster care to getting university diplomas, degrees, and now they are doing amazing things. I can tell you countless of lives that have been affected by you getting up and coming around that table. And I want to thank you for making a difference in my life and allowing me to make a difference in other people's lives. And that anytime that we are able to break down walls, especially in this job, it's incredibly important. And one of the things that I love about my journey with this badge is that I've been able to help people on so many different levels. And I just want to say that thank you for helping me get to a point of feeling proud of what I'm doing. I'm glad I stepped out from behind the table and approached you, because I think this department's a better department with you on it. This department is definitely a better department with you on it. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks. My name is Philmor Graham. I'm a police officer with the City of Sacramento Police Department, and this was my journey to the badge.